This is Paul Newman, and if you are seeing this screen, I am hoping to assure you here that the light... Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video. Thank you very much for taking the time to join me today, as always. It is very much appreciated. I hope you are all doing well and enjoying your week so far. You joined me on the 9th of June 2026, Tuesday, in the week after the UK Oaks and Derby took place last weekend. And it's the French Oaks this weekend at Chantilly, the Prix de Diane. So what better time is there this week than to take a look on my own personal YouTube channel at the performance of the YouTube horses at the 2026 Cheltenham Festival. That's right, everybody. We've been getting a bit behind on the National Hunt reviews. The reviews of the Patreon horses were done sometime last month. They have already been on the Patreon channel over at Newman Racing for quite a while. But now it is time to take a look at the review, at the performance of the few YouTube National Hunt horses. So this video will be on my own personal YouTube channel, one of the rare National Hunt videos on the channel. Basically, what I've got lined up for you today is we're going to take a look at 4 races from the 2026 Cheltenham Festival. Some of them feature YouTube horses only, and some of them will feature YouTube horses and Patreon horses. So this video will also be shared on the Patreon channel as well to enable the Patreon horses that took part in these 4 races to be reviewed. The thinking behind it was I didn't want to review Patreon horses on the YouTube channel. It seemed pointless, you know. So I went through all the races. I decided I looked at which ones featured Patreon horses, which ones featured YouTube horses, and then went from there. The 4 races we're going to take a look at in this video are one on each day, actually. From the first day, we're going to take a look at the Champion Hurdle. And that featured 2 horses, one from the Patreon channel, the Harry Skelton trained New Lion, and another one from the YouTube channel, Brighter Days Ahead, trained by Gordon Elliott. And then we're going to skip forward a day and look at the Brown Advisory Novice Chase from the 11th of March. That actually featured 4 horses. It featured 2 from the YouTube channel, Argento Boy, trained by Willie Mullins, and Salva, trained by Gary Moore, as well as 2 Patreon horses, Final Demand and Romeo Coolio. Both horses, I think, trained by Willie Mullins. Well, I'm not entirely sure who trains Romeo Coolio at this point. We're then going to move forward another day on the 12th of March and take a look at the Stayers Hurdle, Grade 1 race featuring the YouTube horse, the Willie Mullins trained Ballyburn. And then we're going to finish the video by taking a look at the blue ribbon event of the week, the Cheltenham Gold Cup, that took place on the 13th of March, featuring the YouTube horse Gaelic Warrior and the Patreon horse, the Gordon Elliott trained Firefox. Gaelic Warrior, obviously trained by Willie Mullins. So, without further adu, really, I think we can think about reviewing some races now. The first race, like I said, we're going to take a look at, took place on the first day, and it is the Champion Hurdle. A very interesting race, like I said, featuring a horse from both channels. Brighter Days Ahead, representing the YouTube channel, and last year's Ballymore winner, the New Lion, representing the Patreon channel. So a good old-fashioned YouTube versus Patreon showdown for the first race we're going to take a look at. Let's take a look at that race now, shall we? Without further ado. And then we can see what we think. And we will take a look at the performance of the Newman horses as well, both on YouTube and Patreon in this video at the end of each race. So let's move on to the Champion Hurdle.
And there are let them go for the 2026 Unibet Champion Hurdle, and Tutti Quanti was slow to get into stride. Work Ahead leads over flight number 1 with Brighter Days Ahead, Upsides, and Lossymouth the Grey sitting very handy. Towards the left, the New Lion with the defending champion Golden Ace, the white and mauve. Alexi is in midfield with Poneros in the blue on the inside, and the pair at the back of the field, Amsterdam, is held up, and Tutti Quanti, after that slow start, is the back marker on this long run between flights 1 and 2. It is Brighter Days Ahead that strides into the lead from Work Ahead, with Lossymouth to the outside, just going into second place. Golden Ace in fourth, and then the New Lion and Alexi at number 2. Brighter Days Ahead over in front. Amsterdam made a terrible mistake at the second and lost plenty of ground, is now disputing last with Tutti Quanti as they go on the turn, about to head away from us, and it's Brighter Days Ahead under Jack Kennedy. She leads the way in the Champion Hurdle to Lossymouth and Paul Townend in second. Work Ahead is in third, with Golden Ace and Lorcan Williams in fourth. The New Lion and Harry Skelton on her outside. Alexi is tracking with Poneros, and then Tutti Quanti and Amsterdam after that error is the back marker as they run towards their third here. Brighter Days Ahead with Lossymouth in second place, a length down, with Work Ahead in third, and then Golden Ace. The New Lion is in fifth, but only 4 lengths off the lead, with Alexi in sixth, and then Poneros. Tutti Quanti as they get over their third, and Amsterdam is the back marker. On the run to the fourth, Brighter Days Ahead with the advantage, stretched to a length and a half now to Lossymouth, ridden very handy in second. Golden Ace close up in third. Work Ahead the outside of the inside, and then last year's Turner's winner, the New Lion, on the outside. Alexi is still in sixth as they take number 4. Tutti Quanti just closing up a little bit on Poneros, and Amsterdam is last of all as they turn left-handed and race towards the flight at the top of the hill, beyond halfway in the Unibet Champion Hurdle. Brighter Days Ahead still to Lossymouth, sitting on her girth in second as they come to flight number 5. Golden Ace disputing third with Work Ahead. The New Line the outside. Alexi gets more competitive between horses there. A line of 4 disputing third. There's a few lengths then to Poneros. They're about to head down the hill with Tutti Quanti struggling, and Amsterdam the back marker. So 3 left to jump, and on the descent now. Brighter Days Ahead with Lossymouth nearly upsides. Golden Ace, the New Lion out wide. Work Ahead is now squeezed along. Alexi is following the front 4 as they get to the third last. Brighter Days Ahead to Lossymouth. Golden Ace trying to defend her crown. Alexi, the New Lion the outside. These 5 are clear of Work Ahead, Poneros, Tutti Quanti and Amsterdam as they run to the second last flight here. Lossymouth now attacks. Lossymouth the outside of Brighter Days Ahead. These are on a little to Golden Ace. Skelton still waiting on the New Lion as they turn for home. Alexi on the inside into the home straight then. Brighter Days Ahead driven. Lossymouth has taken the lead here on the run towards the last. Lossymouth opens up by a couple. Alexi running a big race. Then the New Lion and Golden Ace. Lossymouth at the last over. 3 lengths clear. Alexi an error. It's Lossymouth from Brighter Days Ahead. Then the New Lion and Alexi. But it's Lossymouth. She's striding towards a 4th festival win, her best win. Lossymouth has left them trailing, and Lossymouth is the champion hurdler. Brighter Days Ahead held second, the New Lion in third, then Alexi and Golden Ace.
A tremendous renewal, I'm sure you will agree, of the 2026 Champion Hurdle at the Cheltenham Festival, and victory has gone the way of the Willie Mullins trained mare Lossymouth. Like the trainer said, completing her fourth Cheltenham Festival victory. What a fantastic servant she has been for Connections. The Riches, what a brilliant performance to take the 2026 Cheltenham Champion Hurdle. We'll run you through the first 4 of the race before taking a look at the performance of the Newman horses, who I thought all ran interesting races on the day. Lossymouth, the winner, trained by Willie Mullins and ridden by Paul Townend. The horse sired by Great Pretender out of a dam called Mariner's Light, a French-bred mare sired by Gentle Wave. Lossiemouth winning by 6.5 lengths, running to a Racing Post rating of 163 to win the Champion Hurdle. In second place, and the first home of the Newman horses, was Brighter Days Ahead. Brighter Days Ahead, trained by Gordon Elliott and ridden by Jack Kennedy. Sired by Capguard out of a dam called Matney, who herself was sired by Laveron. Brighter Days Ahead ran to a Racing Post rating of 155 on the day to finish second, 6.5 lengths behind. And in third was another Newman horse, 7 lengths behind, and the first gelding home in the Champion Hurdle, last year's Turner's winner, the New Lion. Owned by Ireland's biggest gambler, J.P. McManus, trained by Dan Skelton and ridden by Harry Skelton, sired by Kaif Tara out of a French-bred dam called Right Era, who herself was sired by a Starabad. The New Lion running to a Racing Post rating of 162 to finish third. You'll note there the mare's allowance factored in. The New Lion actually ran a much better race than the second home, Brighter Days Ahead, finishing 7 lengths behind the winner, Lossiemouth. Fourth home on the day was Alexi. Alexi, trained by Joe Tizard and ridden by Brendan Powell. The horse sired by Tai Chi, a German-bred stallion out of a German-bred mare called Andromeda, who herself was sired by Mount Nelson. Alexi, in finishing fourth, ran to a Racing Post rating of 160. Very interesting race, the Champion Hurdle. The Newman horses just thwarted by Lossiemouth, and not for the first time in her National Hunt career. Lossiemouth, an absolute credit to Connections, the 7-year-old. She's proved a very tough nut to crack, and my horses have struggled to do so on more than one occasion. That was a very good performance from the winner. But to fill the next 2 places in the race in the Champion Hurdle, I do think that my horses have ran with credit. Let's take a look at how they finished the season. Brighter Days Ahead actually bounced back with a win, a mark of 157 at Aintree, when she confirmed form with the New Lion, beating the horse by 2.25 lengths to win the Grade 1 Aintree Hurdle. I think that race is called. Yes, over a bit further, 2 mile 4 furlongs than they race over at Cheltenham. So the Brighter Days Ahead has had a pretty solid season in which she has won 2 Grade 1 hurdles, but she never really improved her best rating this season. Her best rating came last season when she defeated Winter Fog by 30 lengths, a mark of 165 at Leopardstown. The best she managed this year was 161, what she gained when beating Lossiemouth by 3.25 lengths at Leopardstown on February 2026. But yeah, good solid season again by Brighter Days Ahead. She's had 16 starts and she's finished out of the first 3 on 1 occasion. What a brilliant servant she has been to me and all those that are others that identified her, and most importantly for Connections. We'll take a look at the New Lion now. I think this has to go down as a disappointing season, really. From the horse, he came into the season with a mark of 159 when he gained, defeating the Yellow Clay by 3/4 of a length in the Grade 1 novice last year. And he's only managed to improve his rating by 3 in open company, running to a mark of 162 twice. The horse only managed to win the Grade 2 race at Cheltenham on the 24th of January 2026, the old Beulah, the International Hurdle at Cheltenham, where the horse ran to a mark of 147, lower than what he ran to in both his pattern race wins as a novice hurdler. So I think it's fair to say, really, that the New Lion's just killed a year in his career. The horse has only raced 4 times. The horse sadly fell in the fighting 5th behind Golden Ace on his seasonal debut, which is never ideal. But the horse did win a Grade 2 and was a runner-up in 2 Grade 1 open hurdles. But I must admit, I'm disappointed that the horse only improved his rating by 3, from 159 to 162. The next race we're going to take a look at, we're actually going to skip forward a day now and move on to day 2 of the 2026 Cheltenham Festival. And this race here, the RSA Chase that took place on the second day, actually contained 4 of my horses. 2 on the Patreon and 2 on the YouTube. Romeo Coolio and Final Demand were running for Patreon, and Argento Boy and Salva were both running for YouTube. So without further ado, let's watch this race, shall we, and see how they all go.
And they're off for the Grade 1 Brown Advisory Novices Chase. 3 miles and 1 furlong ahead of them, and Oscar's Brother, and on the outside Kitzbühel were amongst the leaders. They got over the first. Kitzbühel was the quickest, and he has taken the lead on the short run to fence 2. Western Fold on the inside jumps in a share of second, together with Cocktail d'Avin and also Final Demand. At the other end of the field, Thomas Moore is last but one. The back marker is Rushmount as they go now slightly uphill and on towards fence number 3 on the side of the course, and setting a decent gallop here is Kitzbühel in the hands of Harry Cobden as he comes towards the uphill third. He got him very close and he wrapped the takeoff bar. Kitzbühel, however, still maintains his advantage as they now make the run into the back straight. He's being followed about 2.5 lengths away by Final Demand, who races up on the outside of Cocktail d'Avin, and then Western Ford towards the inside. Joystick is next. He's then being followed by Cade Dorothy, and then on the outside Romeo Coolio as they go over the first defences taken down the back straight. They're all safely over. Just worse than midfield, Wendigo racing on the inside of Argento Boy. They're in advance of Now Is the Hour. After Now Is the Hour, Oscar's Brother, who broke in the front rank, but he's been shuffled right back through the field with only 3 behind. One of those is Salva, also Rushmount, and the back marker is Thomas Moore. And now they go to their first of the open ditches. 4 ditches taken in this race, and they're all safely over the first one, and Kitzbühel has got the lead by 2.5 lengths. To the outside, Final Demand races in second. To the inner, Western Fold will jump in third. Kitzbühel was not fluent over that particular plain fence, but he still has a 2-length lead as he now begins to climb towards the top of the hill and on now towards another open ditch. It is Kitzbühel who's out in front, to Western Fold to the inside, and wide is Final Demand. In 4th position, Cocktail d'Avin. Then on the inside, Joystick is racing in 5th. Kitzbühel still a long way off that open ditch, but they're all safely over it. Romeo Coolio, the black and white colours, creeping a little closer now. He's about 1.5 lengths in front of Cade Dorothy, followed by Wendigo. Then on the inside, Now Is the Hour. Then quite wide, Argento Boy, followed by Oscar's Brother. Still the last 3, Rushmount together with Salva. And then on the inside is Thomas Moore. He's only about 10-12 lengths off the leader, and they're still quite tightly grouped as they make the run down the hill on towards the next plain fence. And the leader is Kitzbühel. Kitzbühel leads the way to Western Fold towards the inside, and out wide is Final Demand as they rise. Cocktail d'Avin took that fence in 4th position. Romeo Coolio was over in 5th. Then towards the inside is Joystick. He's then being followed by Cade Dorothy. After Cade Dorothy on the inside, Now Is the Hour, Wendigo, and then Argento Boy, who is wide of Oscar's Brother. Then still towards the rear of the field are Salva. He's racing on the outside of Rushmount, and to the inner is Thomas Moore. And now they're going through their starting point. They've completed 1 circuit in the Brown Advisory Novices Chase, and still Harry Cobden and Kitzbühel have got the lead. On the inside, Final Demand and Paul Townend will rise at that fence in 2nd position, and again they're all safely over. Western Fold and Danny Gilligan racing in 3rd. Out wide, Cocktail d'Avin and Darren O'Keefe will take that one in 4th, and made a mistake there. Cocktail d'Avin blundered at that fence as they set out now on their final circuit, and they're taken into the country by Kitzbühel. Kitzbühel by 2 lengths to Final Demand in 2nd, and Western Fold is in 3rd. Joystick to the inside is in 4th, and then towards the outer is Cocktail d'Avin, followed by Romeo Coolio, who's going well just on the heels of the leading group. Over that fence next on the inside was Cade Dorothy. Romeo Coolio was a little not too polished over that particular fence, and now he's racing about 5-6 lengths off the leader Kitzbühel, slightly downhill at this point, and on now towards fence number 13. Kitzbühel comes to it, and a beautiful jump. He really attacked it, and Romeo Coolio made a mistake, and down at that fence was Cade Dorothy. Cade Dorothy has come down at fence number 13. He's up, and so too is the rider Mark Walsh. Over the water jump, Kitzbühel led to Final Demand, who was over in 2nd position. At the other end of the field, Rushmount in danger of getting tailed off. Salva is already a little bit behind, and Thomas Moore is also struggling to get involved as they go over the open ditch. The leader was Kitzbühel. Kitzbühel now by 3 lengths to Final Demand, and then Western Fold has been switched out wide. Cocktail d'Avin is racing in 4th and getting closer over the next, followed then by Joystick, Romeo Coolio and Wendigo. And then Now Is the Hour, followed by Argento Boy, gives up the outside to no one and now being nudged along. Oscar's Brother, then Thomas Moore, Salva and Rushmount Mount is last of those who remain in the Brown Advisory Novices Chase. Here's the final open ditch for Kitzbühel. He comes to the ditch. He's clear by 2 lengths. Another shuddering mistake by Romeo Coolio. His jumping has let him down today. So now they've reached the top of the hill. There's 3 more plain fences to take, and Kitzbühel still leads the way. In second position is Final Demand, followed in third by Western Fold, and on the outside, Cocktail de Vin will make that turn in fourth. On the inside, Joystick is in fifth. Now as the hour is in sixth. Pulling up at the back of the field is Romeo Coolio. So down the hill they come, along towards the third from home, making ground Wendigo to the outside. Argento Boy, another one who tries to make ground, very wide out on the track. Kitzbühel is over the third from home, but his lead is being whittled away now by Cocktail de Vin, who has now moved into second. On the inside, Final Demand is in third. Wendigo is in fourth. Argento Boy on the outside is racing in fifth. Western Fold then towards the inside, followed by Joystick, and they're beginning to make the turn back towards home. There's just 2 more fences to take in the Brown Advisory Novices Chase, and Kitzbühel and Harry Cobden still have the lead off the final turn. Kitzbühel by a length and a half to Cocktail de Vin in second. Final Demand is trying to stay on towards the inside, jump that fence in third. Wendigo is next, then Salva is rallying from a long way back down the wide outside. The final fence, Kitzbühel over with a slender lead to Final Demand on the inside. Wendigo has fallen at the final fence. There's a furlong to go on the fat, and it is Kitzbühel who's got the lead. Final Demand is on the far side. Back in third is Salva. There's another 50 yards to go. Kitzbühel gamely sticking his grey head out in front, and Kitzbühel has won the Brown Advisory. Kitzbühel wins 2. In second place, Final Demand. Salva was third. Tight 4 between, on the near side, Oscar's Brother, and over on the far side, Now Is the Hour.
What a magnificent renewal there of the Brown Advisory, the RSA Chase at the 2026 Cheltenham Festival. Heartbreak again for the Newman horses in the race, as they are yet again denied by the Donnellys, just as they were in the Champion Hurdle with their horse Lossiemouth. It's one of their horses, Kitzbühel, that has denied me in the RSA Chase. But what a fantastic race we witnessed there, it's fair to say. Let's take a look at how they finished, shall we? We'll take a look at the first 4 again, like we did last time. The winner on the day was Kitzbühel, the 11-to-1 shot, trained by Willie Mullins and ridden by Harry Cobden. The horse was sired by Cocorico out of a dam called Val Gardena, a French-bred mare who herself was sired by Dom Alco. Kitzbühel running out a 3/4 of a length victory and running to a racing post rating on the day of 160. Second place on the day, and the first Newman horse home, was in fact the Patreon horse, Final Demand. Final Demand trained by Willie Mullins and ridden by Paul Townend. The horse sired by Walk in the Park out of a dam called Zuzka, who herself was sired by Flemingsfirth. Beaten on the day by 3/4 of a length, Final Demand ran to a racing post rating of 158 on the day. Third place home on the day was another Newman horse, this time representing the YouTube channel, Salva. Salva, trained by Gary and Josh Moore and ridden by Kaylin Quinn. The horse sired by Motivator out of a dam called Salva Evita, who herself was sired by Monson. Salva beaten by 3 lengths on the day, running to a racing post rating of 157. He did stay on very well, as it says there. I thought he ran a good race. Fourth home on the day was owned by Ireland's biggest gambler, Oscar's Brother, trained by Connor King and ridden on the day by Daniel King. The horse sired by German stallion Malinas out of a dam called Hillview Princess, who herself was sired by King's Theatre. Oscar's Brother running to a racing post rating of 157 on the day. We'll scroll through for the other Newman horses. Argento Boy is a YouTube horse, and he managed to beat 4 home in finishing 8th place, beaten 22 lengths on the day. Argento Boy, another one, trained by Willie Mullins and ridden by Danny Mullins. The horse sired by Jukebox Jury out of a dam called Backaway, who was sired by Bob Back. Argento Boy beaten 22 lengths, and running to a racing post rating on the day of 142. And arguably the most disappointing horse of the race, the final Newman horse, the Patreon horse, Romeo Coolio, went off the favourite for the race, 9-4 favourite, Gordon Elliott trained. Romeo Coolio, ridden by Jack Kennedy in first-time headgear. The horse sired by Cave Tara out of a dam called Miss Bailey, a French-bred mare who was sired by Capguard. Romeo Coolio was unfortunately pulled up, with the vet having nothing to report on the day. So just a substandard run on the day by the fourth Newman horse, the Patreon horse, Romeo Coolio. But again, to have two home in the first three of a Grade 1 at the Cheltenham Festival, Salva, I think, was identified 3 years before this race. Final Demand over 1 year before this race. You know, it is what it is, you know. Two superb efforts from Final Demand and Salva, but credit on the day to Kitzbühel, who put in a good round under jockey Harry Cobden for trainer Willie Mullins to land the RSA Chase. We can have a quick look at how the four Newman horses finished their season. That was actually the last time that we saw Final Demand this season. The horse was very lightly raced. The horse only had 4 runs this season, including 1 Grade 1 chase victory, when the horse beat Gold Dancer by 8 lengths. But he was beaten 12 and a half lengths by Kate Doty on his start before that, before bouncing back somewhat with a second place at Cheltenham. The horse has never finished out of the first 3 in 8 starts in his life. Salva, I thought, had a pretty good season. The 6-year-old for an English-based horse. You know, he had a pretty good season, managing to win 2 Grade 2 chases. The horse managed to win the Grade 2 at Sandown on the 5th of December, the Esher Novices Chase. And the horse came back and beat the same horse again, Doyen Quest, in a Grade 2 at Windsor, the Hampton Novices Chase, before finishing 3rd at both Cheltenham and Aintree. 3 solid efforts, really. A solid season, it's fair to say, by Kitzbühel. He improved his best hurdle run was a fairly good effort, it's fair to say, of 150. But the horse did improve to 157 over fences, which isn't that easy to do in England. You know, the horse has done quite well, I think, to finish placed in 2 Group 1 races and win 2 Grade 2 novice chases. Obviously, things will be a lot tougher now into open company, but I do think the horse has done well. Argento Boy, the 7-year-old, is a horse I've always liked, trained by Willie Mullins and owned by Mrs. Audrey Turley. Good, solid improvement by 15 from his hurdle mark of 134 to his fence mark of 149. The horse did win a Grade 3 novice chase this year on the 25th of June. He won the Finley Fort at Naas novice chase, and that was his highest mark of the year, where he beat Boss of the Brownies by 2.5 lengths, running to a mark of 149. But the horse, I think, held his form well. The horse was actually 4th in the Irish Grand National, albeit beaten 33 lengths by the handicap Blot on the day, Soldier in Milan. And then the horse bounced back to finish 2nd in a listed handicap chase at Cheltenham, at Punchestown, on the 2nd of May 2026. So this horse has already stepped into open handicap company on a few occasions and has ran quite well, it's fair to say. But the horse did win a Grade 3 novice chase, and that was his highest mark of the season, 149. Another one that can't run in any open races this season. Argento Boy's finished in the first 2 in 6 of his 15 starts in his career so far. Last but not least, Romeo Coolio, a horse that disappointed on the day after going so well all season, really. The horse had won his first 4 novice chases before this race, running to a racing post rating on the start before of 162, which would have been good enough to win this race when he beat the subsequent Arkle winner Cargis in February. The horse has had some good solid form up to that, but sadly on the day pulled up behind Kitzbühel in March, and that was the last time we saw the horse. The horse never went to Fairyhouse, and the horse never either went to Punchestown. So it looks like Cheltenham really was the end of the horse's career. The 7-year-old, owned by Gordon Elliott, trained by Gordon Elliott, and owned by KTDA Racing. Got somewhat of a retrieval mission, I think, heading into open company next season. but the horse has finished in the first three, in 11 of his 13 starts to date. We're going to move on now from the OSA Chase, and we're going to move on a further day. We're going to take a look at the one race we have for you on the third day of the 2026 Cheltenham Festival, the Stayers Hurdle. Just the one Newman horse in this race, and it was Ballyburn. Ballyburn as a runaway winner, it's fair to say, of a novice hurdle at Cheltenham a couple of years ago. Flattered to deceive, I think, as a novice chaser last season, and was reverting back to hurdling for his first season in open company, which I thought, looking at the horse's pedigree and how the horse performed over fences, I thought it was the right thing to do. So the horse turned up in the Stayers Hurdle at the 2026 Cheltenham Festival. And without further ado, let's take a look at the race, shall we? And then we will be able to see what we think.
Off and running, sent on their way. Hewitt getting going in front for the Paddy Power Stayers Hurdle. 2 circuits, 12 flights to jump. Hewitt to home by the lead. Tiupu the outside, sitting fairly close up with Marchantou on the inner. And they're followed by Doddy the Great as Hewitt soars over the second half of the field. Currently led by Honesty Policy. Cabral du Matin is well back in company with Impostoir. Very low head carriage for Ballyburn in rear with Bob Ollinger, the defending champion, popping over at the back of the field under Dara O'Keefe as they move on swiftly to number 3 and the former King George hero Hewitt and Paddy Hanlon leading over that, all of them clearing the third obstacle. Home by the lead in second, running in this race for the 5th year in succession, home by the lead. Tiupu, the winner in 2024, to the outside under Jack Kennedy, Harry Cobden and Marchantou in a close 4th. Doddy the Great to the outside of Honesty Policy next as they run towards their next flight. Flight number 4. Cabral de Matin in midfield at the moment, getting over that on the outer of the best turned out winner Impostoir, Bob Ollinger, and Ballyburn in the hood for the first time. Paul Townend aboard at the back of the field. They're about to run down the hill and on their journey towards number 5. And it is Hewitt taking them along here to home by the Lee in second place under JJ Slevin with Tiupu the outside, and then Marchantou, the Cleve Hurdle winner here on Trials Day, followed by Honesty Policy and Mark Walsh with Doddy the Great, the Potemps final hero last year, in 6th place at the moment under James Bowen, celebrating his 25th birthday today as they run down towards the 5th. Cabral de Matin with Impostoir, Bob Ollinger and Ballyburn at the back of the field. They've got to their next, the flight before the home turn, and all of them taking that neatly and well, with Hewitt leading to home by the Lee, about a length and a half between first and second. Marchantou going the inside route with Tiupu on the outside. Honesty Policy, his stablemate, is following next with Doddy the Great on the outer, and Impostoir, Nico de Boinville on the inside. Cabral de Matin, having his first try at 3 miles today, is in company with Bob Ollinger, and Ballyburn is the back marker. This will be the last in a circuit's time. It's number 6 in the Paddy Power Stayers, and making a lovely shape over it in front. It is Hewitt continuing to lead the way ahead of home by the lead. Doddy the Great is just coming up to apply a little bit of pressure to Hewitt now, not giving Paddy Hanlon too easy a time, with Marchantou and Tiupu the next pair. Honesty Policy is in 6th position, but only 4 lengths off the pace ahead of Impostoir and Cabral de Matin. Bob Ollinger and Ballyburn last of all. They're back where they started in the Paddy Power Stayers and running to flight number 7. Pace increasing. Hewitt at the head of affairs just to home by the lead. Doddy the Great on the outside, with Tiupu in 4th, 2 lengths away. Marchantou on the inner as they clear their next. Cabral de Matin, the outside then of Honesty Policy. Impostoir still the inner. Bob Ollinger and Ballyburn continue to be the back pair as they come to flight number 8. And a mistake by Doddy the Great to that on the outside. Didn't lose any impetus or ground though. Marchantou the inner. Still Hewitt to home by the Lee. Honesty Policy a bit closer, has just made a place at the expense of Tiupu. And then the inside is Impostoir, Bob Ollinger, Cabral de Mata, yet to make their moves, and the same is true of Ballyburns. They have 3 left to jump, and running up towards their third last, Hewick and Home by the Lee, Marchand to the inside, Doddy the Great, Honesty Policy with Tiupu in 6th, Impostoir on that one's inner, Cabral de Mata just steadied going into that, 3/4 of a mile to cover, 2 flights left to jump, Bob Ollinger and Ballyburn still the last 2 about to run down the hill. Hewick is clinging on to the lead, but Home by the Lee continues to apply some pressure with Doddy the Great in 3rd, Marchand to Honesty Policy, Tiupu, Impostoir, Skelton still waiting on Cabral de Mata, and Bob Ollinger is alongside him, and Ballyburn continues to be in 10th and last place as they freewheel down the hill, and Home by the Lee has just about taken over to Hewick here. In behind, Honesty Policy with Tiupu, Doddy the Great the outside, Marchand to the inner, Impostoir behind horses over the second last, then Cabral de Matan, and then Bob Ollinger and Ballyburn at the back. Hewick is driven, so is Home by the Lee, Marchand too getting a squeeze, Honesty Policy under pressure is Tiupu, Bob Ollinger trying to creep closer with Cabral de Mata, and Skelton still hasn't blinked as they run down towards the last. Home by the Lee and Hewick, Cabral de Mata going sweetly, then Honesty Policy, Bob Ollinger under pressure, then Tiupu. Home by the Lee is leading, but have a look at Cabral de Mata and Hewick, Honesty Policy, and then Bob Ollinger, the near side Ballyburn, Cabral de Mata led Home by the Lee, Ballyburn looking to get through, then Tiupu, the moment of truth here, Cabral de Mata up to 3 miles, Home by the Lee gets back to a narrow lead, Ballyburn is in 3rd position, it's Home by the Lee and JJ Slevin, the horse running in the race for the 5th year in a row, and this time Home by the Lee is the hero of the Paddy Power Stayers. Ballyburn 2nd, 3rd Bob Ollinger, Cabral de Matan faded up the hill as the 11-year-old Home by the Lee is the winner.
Again, what a fantastic renewal of the 2026 Stayers Hurdle at the Cheltenham Festival. The Newman horse denied again. Ballyburn, a fantastic effort to finish 2nd place in the Stayers Hurdle. The Newman horses have filled that position in all 3 races that we have looked at in this video. What a fantastic effort by my horses. But again, they find one too good on the day, rather frustratingly, as Home by the Lee proves best on the day to win the 2026 Stayers Hurdle under a power-packed ride, it's fair to say, by jockey JJ Slevin. Home by the Lee, the winner, trained by Joseph Patrick O'Brien and ridden by JJ Slevin. The horse sired by Fame and Glory out of a dam called Going for Home, who herself was sired by Presenting. Home by the Lee, given a rating of 164 for his 1 1/4 length victory over the Newman horse Ballyburn, the heroic Ballyburn, the very unlucky Ballyburn. I think it's fair to say, if you watch that race, by far and away the best horse in the race. Just trotted all over him really, come to the last, and just got outdone on the running. That can happen. Ballyburn, sired by Flemonsforth, out of a dam called Old Moon, who herself was sired by Old Vic. Ballyburn, trained by Willie Mullins and ridden by Paul Townend, was in fact given the same rating as the winner, 164 on the day. 3rd home was Bob Ollinger, last year's winner. Bob Ollinger going down on his sword, the 11-year-old. An absolutely fantastic run by Bob Ollinger. The horse sired by Sholokov, out of a dam called Zenaid, who herself was sired by Zafaran. Bob Ollinger, trained by Henry de Bromhead and ridden by Dara O'Keefe for owners Rabcor. A mark of 161 on the day for Bob Ollinger. And 4th, arguably the biggest non-stayer that people will have seen in the Stayers Hurdle. The clue's in the title for a while. Cabral de Matan, the horse trained by Dan Skelton and ridden by Harry Skelton. The horse sired by Pastorius, German-bred stallion, out of a French-bred mare called Nafazeza, who was sired by Rochesson. Cabral Mathan given a mark of 158. Although the vet did report that the gelding had lost his right foreshoe at some point during the race. But I do think it was fairly clear that the horse weakened up the hill. Honesty Policy finished 5th, and Tiapu, another former winner of the race, finished 6th. But again, how unlucky was the Newman horse there? Ballyburn, an absolutely fantastic run. Again though, a rather funny season for Ballyburn, a year in which the horse never won. The horse never won and only raced 3 times at Grade 1 level and was placed on each occasion. People will see that if they go back to his hurdle marks at Cheltenham, he was running to a mark of 166 at Cheltenham back in 2024, when the horse was romping clear over Jimmy Desoy in the Bear in Bingham Novices Hurdle. And I don't think the horse has ever come close to matching that, certainly not over fences, where the horse only ran to a best mark of 160. But this horse this year ran to a mark of 164 on 2 occasions. So at least over hurdles, he is getting a bit better, and he is approaching his supreme novices hurdle form, Ballyburn. But yeah, he's proving, I think, to be quite a frustrating horse and a very difficult horse to place. The horse has had 15 runs in his career and finished in the first 3 on 14 occasions. So it is impossible to be too critical about the horse. But some of the prices that the horse has gone off at, he needs to win. You know, the horse is a bookie's horse, really. Gone off favourite every time, apart from the 11-2 shot when he finished 2nd at Cheltenham. Hopefully they'll relent a little bit. Some of the prices the horse has gone off at have been very prohibitive in his career. But he is a very good, well-bred horse. So let's move on now, I think, from the Stayers Hurdle and look at the final race we're going to take a look at in this video, which is the blue ribbon race of the festival, really, the 2026 Cheltenham Gold Cup. 2 horses lined up for Newman, the Gaelic Warrior, the YouTube horse, and Firefox, the Patreon horse, who was one of the first horses actually identified on the switch over from YouTube to Patreon. Very interesting race in prospect, the blue ribbon race of the festival. Let's take a look at the race now. Oops, and once I have pressed the right button, let's take a look at the race now, shall we? And then we will see.
The flag is raised. And they're off for the 2026 running of the Boodles Cheltenham Gold Cup. Very keen on the inside. Gaelic Warrior broke alertly, and now the jukebox man is right up there, and he will try and head them all off as they go towards the first. Haiti Couleur at the moment not in the mix for the lead. He's wide and racing in 5th position as they go over the first, with Grey Dawning right in the centre, with Gaelic Warrior on the inside, and the jukebox man is out wide. And then Django Bay racing in 4th position. On the outside is Haiti Couleur in 5th, and then Gold Tweet in 6th. They go over fence number 2. L'Empresse next, just pushed away from that fence by Charlie Deutsch. Then on the inside, Envoy Alain. Last but one is Firefox, and the reigning champion, I Know the Way You're Thinking, is last of the 10 as they make the run up the hill, past the stands and on now towards the back straight, having taken 2 of the 22 fences. It's at this point now that Sean Bowen has allowed Haiti Couleur to do what he loves to do and bowled along in front, and Haiti Couleur has now taken the lead. That has rather revved up Gaelic Warrior on the inside, who's now racing quite keenly in 2nd to the inside. He had a bit of a coming together there on his outside with Grey Dawning, and then the jukebox man taken quite wide now by Ben Jones. He's 3 deep. Then towards the inside is Django Bay, followed by Gold Tweet and L'Empresse as they now go over the water jump. The 2nd fence taken down the back straight. Still the back marker is I Know the Way You're Thinking. Last but 1 is Firefox, and last but 2 is Envoy Alain. They go now towards the first of the open ditches, and it was Haiti Couleur who had a lead of a couple of lengths to Grey Dawning, who moved into a clear 2nd. He's now going to put a bit of pressure on Haiti Couleur as they continue to climb the hill going over the next plain fence. Grey Dawning just trailed his hind legs through that in 2nd, but it wasn't a serious error, and he's still only a length off the leader, who is Haiti Couleur, who's now going towards the top of the hill on towards the 7th, which is another of the open ditches. Haiti Couleur at the open ditch, to in 2nd Grey Dawning, and then in 3rd the jukebox man. And then in fourth position is Gaelic Warrior, followed in fifth by Django Bay. Then there's a break of about 3 lengths to on the inside Gold Tweet. On his outside L'Empresse, who's rather running snatches. He's off the bit once again as they go over that next plain fence. Next is Envoy Alain. On that one's outside is Firefox, and still weighted with in the hands of Mark Walsh. I know the way you're thinking. They take the turn at the top of the hill, going on now towards fence number 9, and it is still Haiti Couleur, who's now trying to string out the field. He was clear by 2.5 lengths. The Jukebox Man moved up into second with a really good jump round the outside of Grey Dawning, and then back in fourth position, the pink colours of Gaelic Warrior. On his outside is Django Bay, and then for France, Gold Tweet, then L'Empresse, Envoy Alain, Firefox, I know the way you're thinking, still last as they go over the fence taken on the run down the hill. Gold Tweet wasn't too fluent over that. He jumped slightly away to the right and ridden at the back of the field. I know the way you're thinking. So they have almost completed a circuit in the Boodles Cheltenham Gold Cup, and it is still for Wales, Haiti Couleur, who has the lead, and that lead is 2.5 lengths over the Jukebox Man on the outside of Grey Dawning, and then the red and white diamonds of Django Bay. He looms up on the outside of Gaelic Warrior. Further break of 2.5 back to Gold Tweet as they go over fence number 11, the last quartet, Envoy Alain, and then on the outside L'Empresse, who still isn't really travelling. Last but one, Firefox in the back marker. I know the way you're thinking. Fence number 12, they're through halfway in the Gold Cup, and still it is Haiti Couleur who takes them past the packed stands at Cheltenham with a circuit to go in the Boodles Cheltenham Gold Cup, and it is still Sean Bowen and Haiti Couleur who has got the lead, and that lead now is 3 lengths over Grey Dawning and the Jukebox Man on his outside, and then Django Bay and Gaelic Warrior. The next duo, Gold Tweets, on the inside of L'Empresse. After L'Empresse races Envoy Alain, and then I know the way you're thinking, now making a bit of a move on the inside of Firefox. The last two named racing about 12 lengths off the leader, who is still Haiti Couleur over the first fence taken down the back. Haiti Couleur didn't get very high, neither too did Gold Tweet, who took that one in 6th position. Little change in the order for the last mile or so as Haiti Couleur takes them on towards the water jump, fence number 14. Haiti Couleur jumps it well, reaches for it, out in front by 2 lengths. The Jukebox Man on the outside of Grey Dawning in a head bob for second and third. And then Django Bay as they go now towards the penultimate open ditch. And Sean Bowen asked for a big leap there by Haiti Couleur, and he really picked it well. Not so Grey Dawning, who trailed his hind legs through that open ditch, and he's now dropped back to third. He's now trying to get back through on the inside of the Jukebox Man. And again, Grey Dawning was not fluent there at that fence number 16. Now they take the turn on towards the final open ditch. Haiti Couleur now 2 lengths his lead over the Jukebox Man and Grey Dawning, who is towards the inside as they fly the ditch. Then Gaelic Warrior and Django Bay and Gold Tweet, and then Firefox, who creeps a little closer with Envoy Alain. Last but one, I know the way you're thinking, and now tailing off at the back of the field is L'Empresse. They've climbed now right to the top of the hill, and Haiti Couleur still has the lead. At that fence, Envoy Alain was not fluent, he was low, so he's asking for more now on Haiti Couleur, taking the turn on towards the fourth from home. The Jukebox Man is still travelling powerfully towards the outside. Grey Dawning is on the inner, over the fourth from home, and Haiti Couleur got that one wrong. He hit it hard, and now he's being driven to maintain his advantage as the Jukebox Man now begins to loom on the outside. Gaelic Warrior is now getting into contention. So too Django Bay, who is out wide towards the inner. Grey Dawning just angling for a little bit of racing room, and then Gold Tweet right on the heels, the leaders, with Firefox also beginning to make ground. I know the way you're thinking towards the outside. Envoy Alain is outpaced and tailed off is L'Empresse as now the field begins to make the run down to the bottom of the hill, and it's all about to change. It's Gaelic Warrior around the outside with the Jukebox Man. These are now the first two. Grey Dawning is now trying to box on in third to the outside. Django Bay. Gold Tweet is running huge. They're then followed by Firefox, and then I know the way you're thinking, the second last, and it was Gaelic Warrior with a lead which has now extended to 3 lengths over Django Bay in second, and Grey Dawning is in third, but it is Gaelic Warrior and Paul Townend at the final fence in the Boodles Gold Cup, and he's clear by 6 lengths over Django Bay in second, and racing inside the final furlong, it is Gaelic Warrior who is powering up the Cheltenham Hill. It's clear now by 8 lengths up towards the line. The Gold Cup goes to Gaelic Warrior. In second will be Django Bay. In third, I know the way you're thinking, Grey Dawning was in fourth, and L'Empresse rallied for fifth.
What a fantastic renewal of the 2026 Gold Cup at the Cheltenham Festival, and victory has gone the way of the Newman horse. Newman has been so unlucky in this video, I think it's fair to say. All of my horses, the best, that they have finished at least second in all of the 3 races before this race. And finally, one of them has got his head in front on the day. And it is the Willie Mullins trained Gaelic Warrior who has managed to win the Cheltenham Gold Cup of 2026 in what I think is arguably a flawless performance. You saw how the horse went round there. The horse went round beautifully, I thought. So let's take a look at the result. Victory goes the way of the Newman horse. Gaelic Warrior, the 11-4 joint favourite, trained by Willie Mullins and ridden by Paul Townend. The horse sired by Maxios out of a French-bred mare called Game of Legs, who herself was sired by Hernando. The horse given a racing post rating of 182 for his 8 lengths demolition of last year's Arkle winner, I think it was last year, or the year before, Django Bay. Django Bay, a horse sired by Tiger Groom out of a dam called Tennessee, who herself was sired by Capguard. Django Bay, trained by Nicky Henderson and ridden by Nico de Boinville, allocated a racing post rating of 174 on the day. Third home was last year's winner, I Know the Way You're Thinking, owned by Ireland's biggest gambler, JP McManus. The horse trained by Gavin Cromwell and ridden by Mark Walsh. I Know the Way You're Thinking, sired by Walk in the Park, out of a dam called Sway, a French-bred mare, who was sired by Caliphate. I Know the Way You're Thinking, a racing post rating of 174 on the day. Fourth home, and just out of the places, was a horse trained by UK's champion trainer Dan Skelton and ridden by his brother Harry. Grey Dawning, sired by Flemingsfirth out of a dam called Lady Wagtail, who herself was sired by Milan. Grey Dawning allocated a racing post rating of 167 for finishing 4th in the Gold Cup. We'll take a look at the performance of the other Newman horse, Firefox. Firefox was beaten 26 1/4 lengths by Gaelic Warrior in 6th place. Running quite credibly, there was a few behind him on the day. Firefox, sired by Walk in the Park out of a dam called Cute as a Fox, an Irish-bred mare who was sired by Vinnie Rowe. Firefox, trained by Gordon Elliott and ridden by Jack Kennedy, was allocated a racing post rating of 155 on the day for finishing 6th. A fantastic race, I think, and a fitting end to our coverage of the 2026 National Hunt season on both Patreon and YouTube, I think. You know, this will definitely be the last YouTube video of the 2025-26 season. Now we will be back in around the autumn time, I think it's fair to say, with a look at all the National Hunt horses. Hopefully we will lose a few in the process as well. Some that have fallen short on form will undoubtedly be let go in National Hunt racing, it's fair to say. But before we end the video, let's just take a look at how these 2 horses got on. Gaelic Warrior was actually given a higher mark at Punchestown for a 26-length destruction of Factor File, a mark of 183 to land the Grade 1 at Punchestown on the 29th of April 2026. What a truly incredible horse. The horse has taken its form to a whole new level this season, I think. Last season, you'll see the horse was around 170. It was around 2024, 2025. It was 170 horse. It's now a low 180 horse. This 8-year-old National Hunt horse was still improving last season. The horse has had 21 runs out of 23 in the first 3. What an absolute pleasure for me to identify this horse going round. It's worth pointing out, really, that I identified this horse when it was beaten by one of mine, Brazil, back in 2022. 4 years before this horse has even shown how good it is, I've identified the horse. That is just how far I am ahead of the vast majority of these people on this planet. You know, it really is what it is. We'll take a look at the other horse, Firefox, again. has had a pretty solid season, I think it's fair to say. He was allocated a mark of 163 when finishing 4th, beaten 14 lengths by Factor File at Leopardstown. The horse did get his head in front for the first time in a pattern race in his career this season as well, when he won the Kildress Plumbing Chase, a Grade 2 race held at Down Royal in November 2025. And the horse, I think, did improve slightly. His chase form now of 163 is nearly a stone better than his hurdle form. And I was wondering for a while, although he was well beaten, 16th from 34, you see there, where the horse ran in the UK Grand National, running to a Racing Post rating of 38 on the day, which is abysmal. But that's what it is. Yeah, but there you go, you see. The horse has run well in his career, I think. He was around 150 at his best last season. You'll see that where he was finished second behind Mystical Power in the 2024 Irish Champion Hurdle. That was one of his KPMG Champion Novices Hurdle, last season. That was one of his best performances. Then he was well beaten by Madgeborough, and he was also well beaten by L'Atlantique in a Grade 2 at Naas in January. But I don't think there can be any doubt at all that this horse has found a few pounds this year. And maybe he might be able to find a few more next season, who knows. The horse Firefox, still only 8 years old, the gelding, trained by Gordon Elliott, and let's see how he goes next season for owners Bective Stud. But yeah, I think now I can definitely think about leaving this National Hunt Review video. I hope you've enjoyed watching it as much as I've enjoyed making it. Just a good chance, really, to just show you how good some of my National Hunt horses are. You know? What else can I offer you at the end of this video? Well, I will stick a copy up of the National Hunt playlist on the YouTube channel. There hasn't obviously been much on it for a while, but there is a YouTube playlist on the YouTube National Hunt channel. So I will stick a link to that at the end of this video, should you want more of the YouTube content on the National Hunt Racing. But I will say now that if National Hunt Racing is your thing, then Newman Racing over at Patreon is much more your thing. That is where you will find all the new National Hunt horses will be over on Patreon. Since I decided there wasn't going to be a National Hunt Racing website, there isn't really any need for the horses to be on YouTube. You know, so if National Hunt Racing is your thing, then you really do want to be checking out the Patreon over at Newman Racing as well. What else can I offer you at the end of this video? Well, I can offer you an opportunity to subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. That way, if you do a bit of work with your in-app notifications or your desktop application of YouTube, you can set the notifications up correctly so you will never miss a video when I post to YouTube. You will log in and there will be a notification there waiting for you to tell you that I have uploaded a video. A lot of people seem to find that very helpful, the people I'm speaking to, and it does work. You have to do a little bit of work with your notifications, click on a few things and tell it what to do. But then once you have got it set up correctly, it will tell you every time I upload a video, and you will not miss any more moving forward. But like I said, that's about all we've got for you in this video, the last National Hunt video of 2025-2026. One of very few on the YouTube channel, I will say. I hope you enjoyed it. What else have we got coming up? Well, this week we're going to switch codes a bit now. It's the French Oaks this week. So I will be tying up any loose ends maybe in the French Oaks towards the end of the week for the Classic Watch project. And that will obviously take place on the YouTube channel. I will, of course, be linking this video to my Patreon over at Newman Racing because Patreon horses are figured in this video as well. So I will mention again the Patreon video, the Patreon channel, Newman Racing, as well as this one to keep on top of. But I'm going to end this video now here, I think, and bid you a fond farewell. Take care, everybody. Look after yourselves and your loved ones and enjoy the rest of your week. And I hope you have a very good week. I'll be back at some point to discuss something on some platform whatsoever. But like I said, the best thing to do is to stay abreast of both the YouTube and the Patreon. That way you will not miss anything. But for now, I will say take care. Goodbye, everybody. And I hope to see you soon.